Yo, Dorki here. I wanted to get some high blood decay key footage in to give some insight on how the class feels at a high level. So we got a 23 miss run here. It was not the greatest run, but we managed to recover and clean it up. This was done on stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the VOD. Alright, you know what? We'll look at this key. This key was pretty fun. Yo, do we keep chat or do we full screen? Alright, so starting this key, you always want full runic power. This is like pretty essential. Now, our plan here always, you want to get sufficient aggro, then you want to get to at least close to 10 stacks of bone shield, especially if you're playing Foul Bulwark in this case. So we open here, put focus on the harvester. Like this thing I was talking about. You always want to use focus kicks because you can do it ahead of time. Like I put this mob on focus and I can just always move to one of these other mobs. Now, how do we open here? I actually don't even know how we open. I think we dancing on pull. So yeah, dancing insta. Try to pick these up with Blood Boil. I missed one of them, so I think this one goes on Hippo since he's star falling, and I think I tell him to just come over to me. And then I Vamp Blood as well, because this pull is actually mega danger. But yeah, we instantly try to build back to as close to 10 stacks as we can. Now we have our Swarm rolling, we've got all our Blood Boils out, we should have sufficient aggro. And at this point, we just want to cruise a bit. We want to use our cooldowns to keep ourselves from getting one shot while trying to maintain runic power. And this is probably like the hardest part about Blood Decay. Because if you misplay one global, we're just dead here. Like we have a D&D proc here, I think we maybe could have used, but I didn't want to risk it. So yeah, like here we're starting to run out of juice. Our Vamp Blood faded, Crimson faded, or Dancing I mean, and Swarming faded. The only thing we have left is I just like randomly pressed Lichborn and one rune tap. And I'm probably going to call for trees here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like I already know what I'm going to trees. It's going to be trees here. D&D since it's not hitting me. Okay, now the trees died so fast actually. Hasn't even been 8 seconds yet and the trees are already dead. So this is actually pretty dangerous. At this point, we either need assassins or we just continue face tanking like a man. Like here, I'm just soft kiting for a bit. AMZ for the soul splits, since we don't really have much else. But our Vamp Blood actually comes back up. So we're mega fine now. Grip to start the harvest. Cake here. We overlap with Chows. And then right out of right out of Vamp Blood, we have Dancing. And this is the power of Blood Decay. As a Blood Decay, it doesn't matter if our healer's an angel, because our angel can be dead all he wants. We don't need a healer here. Also, we used 2 Vamp Bloods and 2 Dancings in one pull. Whereas most other tanks, like a Prop Paladin especially, you run out of cooldowns instantly. So here, we probably should have opened this thing first instead of pulling right away. We don't have Vamp Blood, we only have Swarming Mist here, which I assume we're going to use. And in the hierarchy, we always try to separate this Harvester here, because one of these free casting is super dangerous. So we just CC one, kill this Harvester, rotate kicks on it, and then chain this one afterwards. Aim us for the soul splits. And during Swarming is actually a really strong cooldown. Got IBF? Yeah. So we actually have like so many different cooldowns you can rotate through as a Blood Decay. So these Soul Cleavers, we can tank them, but it's generally not worth it because of this Hand of Frost. It makes them heal way too much at a higher key. But at this point, we can probably Dancing at some point. I probably should have Dancing earlier, but I didn't expect to be tanking these. So here we're probably just saving it for the next pull. Just kite out the Soul Cleavers so they don't leech off the tank. Grab our Mushroom. And again, we never want to tank these Soul Cleavers just because they're going to heal. Okay, so it's pretty safe here to just go into the next pole since the harvester by itself doesn't really do much as long as it's being kicked. Is it good to trees those pack? Yeah, because early on you want damage during the pack with like combustion and flame patches and stuff. And the trees are actually a little bit tanky. I think they get less lifesteal when they're hitting the tank. I could be wrong though. So normally these two mobs do a crap ton of tank damage. But because we have Vamp Blood rolling, we're pretty tanky for now. And we're about to push both these. When you push these don't do a lot of damage to the tank. We can kind of just cruise for a little bit. But once Hippo comes back, we probably need trees here. We don't have anything else. I think this is where I call for trees. Yep. And then out of trees, I'm gonna have to either IBF or just sit on really high runic power. Like you see how I'm not using any death strikes here. When they're hitting the trees, we're just building. This entire time, wait for the trees. Bang, and then we just build here. We build and we want to sit at really high stacks of bone shield and runic power. This is like the healthiest part about Bloody Kick. If you have all this up, you're mega tanky. But these guys still melee for a ton of damage. Like, let's see how hard two of these hit me for. Both melees at once, I instantly lose like what, 70% of my HP. Rune tap. And then we're just cruising for a little bit until our Vamp Blood comes back up. Vamp Blood. And if we have to here, we can dancing. Should be fine for the rest of this pull. I mean, you might as well dancing too. I would dancing here. Oh, one dancing? Oh, I asked for angels actually. We got angel wings. Okay, we got angel wings instead. And these prides, Bloody Kid's pretty good at tanking these too. The only issue is that we're doing no damage to these prides, and they're living for longer than it would be with a Vengeance or Bear instead that can convoke it. With dancing here, exactly. Is Necro Blood Decay okay? Yeah, it's okay. It's completely fine. Do you do these videos for Bear Tank too? Sometimes, yeah. Do you need trees to convoke prides as a bear? In higher key levels, yes. But in anything below a 20, not really, no. So here it is really not too much to it. There's not a lot to tank. We're just thinking about damage and we don't really care too much about our runic power. We're just like beating our heads against the tree. So the strategy here generally is on 40 seconds left of pride, this is when you want to lust. We're gonna lust here. And we need to blast this tree as hard as we can without popping any major cooldowns. We're sitting on Combust. We're sitting on Convoke CA. And Hibble actually plays Incarn here in this dungeon. So when it goes down to 25 seconds left, that's when we want to pop Potion. So this is where everyone potions. Oh, I popped a Prolong Potion. Lichborn to Fear. And then now we have 12 seconds of Pride with 12 seconds of Potion and 12 seconds of Lust for Ingra Malak during the vulnerability phase, which is like actually perfect timing. Get a full moon during that too. We're popping off. Ideally, I would have used Phantom Fire here, but I don't know if my DK had any. But yeah, generally, you focus the tree down still if the boss isn't below something like 800k or so. So we still need to hit the tree even though the boss looks really low. Can just fast forward this a little bit. And I think we combust the tree. I'm pretty sure here we're gonna combust the tree when it comes up. Yeah, so combust on tree, and then we hit Ingram Malok. Hippo's trying the flap tech. This actually almost costed a key. Now that I look at it from the end of the perspective. Because like I know how this key goes in the end. And we just waste so much time trying to pull this pack over here. So like here I'm expecting more mobs, but they just never come. Yeah, you can see Hippo in this little dot over here, just trying to constantly flap down here and pull the mobs. Is there any way? Yeah, there's like a special Boomkin way. You can also use pets if you can send a pet through the wall. So when it's spiteful over here, you want to be using Invis, Vanish, and all that stuff to try to open the gate. So if you have Dancing and Swarming Mist, we're actually almost unkillable in this state. Look how much we're dodging and parrying. We're taking almost no damage. That's why Swarming plus Dancing is a really powerful combo. And they're both on like roughly a minute cooldown too. But yeah, this is what I mean by Blood Decay is super tanky and you can face tank a lot. Rotating between trees, dancing, swarming, and just like cardboard assassins if you really need to. You don't really take a lot of damage as a Blood Decay. And look how much healing Growl's doing to me. Like he's practically just DPSing the entire time. Do you use Lichborn coil interaction? No, very rarely. Okay, so now this pull, I probably should have rune tapped on pull, just because the only thing we had was swarming and a ton of runic power. Like here, I could have rune tapped to take a little bit less damage, but it's still not that bad. Trees is I mean, aggro is a huge issue, but we had trees to instantly take aggro back. But I'm pretty sure I'm still not gonna have aggro despite all this. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I do have aggro. Crimson better defensively? Yes and no, because Crimson actually increases your effective HP, allowing you to actually not get one shot. Whereas Brindauer's, all it does is help with your runic power generation. You overuse rune tap? Yeah, that's pretty common. You definitely don't want to be rune tapping a lot. You're much better off spending it on Hard Strike instead. So like, what do we have for pull here? We have dancing, but I think I didn't want to use here because I had 10 stacks of Bone Shield, and I'm probably gonna pop it soon. Swarming actually, swarming is super fine. Like even in this 23 key, we're actually taking not a lot of damage. And even here, we still have trees, we still have wings. So yeah, we use wings after dancing. Still have trees if we really need to. And Vamplo's almost back up already. This is why Blood Decay is actually so good of a tank. It just doesn't do any damage. Vamp is back if we need. Okay, so Pride here, there's really not too much to it. Let's skip past this. Oh, do we do the double frog here? Yeah, it looks like it. I see Hippo pulling it. These guys are really annoying to tank. You just want to constantly face the tongue lash away. Except there's two of them, so it's so chaotic. Like, look at this over here, tongue lash. Oh, good night, Junkrat. So as a tank, you always want to establish your domain as a tank, like your the area that you put all your frontals. Like I see these guys over here. I try to put all my frontals towards this side, and you want to keep it consistent. You don't want to just be all over the place. It's really not good when tanks are just constantly moving around and not really thinking about positioning. Like you see how I'm just keeping this whole area to myself, and I'll leave my team to like this whole area up here. That one's super dangerous though. Left super far. Is it worth? It's worth for us because we needed to get at least 60% count before going down. If you go down with under 60% count, that means that you have to fight that solo pack by itself so that you can get pride before you can pull bigger. And having to do a solo pull downstairs is a pretty big waste of time. Alright, so we have Frog plus a 5 pack here. What do we have? We have Dancing on Pull, I think. Oh my god, I almost got global there. I almost misplayed that one global. I used Blood Boil. Yep, I died for it. But yeah, I should have used something defensive rather than going in with Blood Boil. But now we're super fine. We have Dancing rolling. We'll have Vamp Blood immediately out of this. So I'm going to Vamp here, I think. Yeah. Full Runic Power should be super fine. I get licked too. If it was any other tank, I'd be taking so much damage. Call for trees here. And then now I'm just building back Runic Power. We're not spending anything, we're just building. So we have to get into a habit as Blood Decay to be in this state. Our HP doesn't matter that much. The more important thing is our bone shields, how much runes we have, and how much runic power. This is when we're super healthy. And then we still have IBF, and we used up all our rune taps, so we have IBF there. Then out of this IBF, we're a little bit dry. This is where it's a little bit worrying. No more runic power. Bone shields are okay. We probably Vamp Blood immediately. Yeah. Swarming Mist if we have to. I think we Swarming here. Oh no, actually this pack is pretty much dead. Do we skip this Pride? Might be skipping this Pride. Yeah, I think we're trying to kill all these little shades so we can get this guy low and then kill it and skip Pride. Okay, so we kill here. Invis. Do we make this? Oh no, Growl. Wait, Chow got caught. So Chow just died for no reason. If you get caught, you just have to come with us and we just have to fight this. How important is Leech for tank? It depends on the tank. But Leech is really nice. If you can get Leech, you should, but you shouldn't forego stats for it. Oh my god, I actually almost died here. What happens here? I get meleeed in the back from the Pride as I'm going in. Then the fairy almost punches me in the face and I almost get killed instantly. But there's not... I ate the quantum device from Hippo here. That is super unfortunate. Alright, well, there's not too much to see with this boss. So the only thing really important in this boss fight as a tank is make sure you have focus cake for patty cake. And make sure you try to pop something defensive when there's the images out. Like over here is when we want to use some stuff. Important part is that fat blood decay burst to skip the last illusions. Yup. That's a blood decay only special. Big single target. Alright, so we've got 20 minutes going down. We have over 60% count. This is a really good count to be at. This means that you can be doing double or even triple pull, instead of having to do one pull by itself to get pride. And having 9 minutes left, that's a little bit tight, but it's super doable. For weak auras, you can check over here. Okay, so we go down, and we're trying to do a bear pull here. Focus on one of the stag corners. I don't remember which one I'm kicking. I'm thinking I'm kicking the one upstairs. Yeah, so I put my focus on the one upstairs. We're dancing early so we can build. This over here is like super sketchy because I need to pick up all the aggro on these mobs, and I'm trying to live at the same time. Like, we're building, but we're trying to get aggro, and we're trying to stay alive. We might have overused a little bit just because of how messily this was pulled. But we do have Vamp rolling. We're sort of fine. I mean, this is a massive pull, though, so Vamp by itself is pretty sketchy. Rune tap with Vamp. Trying to pick up aggro here. Okay, now, here's where I really need trees. Oh, that was such a tragic misplay. I think I was calling for trees here. I don't remember what happens. Like, I think I was calling for trees here while trying to pick up aggro on this, and then that one global of not getting trees actually just kills me. But at this point in the poll, one thing that people don't realize is that these mobs are actually much easier to pull a bunch than you might think. Because, like, look, right now they're all on Hipple, I think. And he's not even tanking the mobs. That's why when people ask if you can do these type of pulls as any tank, yeah, you can really do it as any tank. Could be a prop paladin doing this. You just need to group them all up efficiently and then start kiting at some point. But yeah, since we don't have any aggro, we're just building right now. Keeping our bone shields up, keeping our runic power high. Keeping them slowed. I think we fight this pride. We fight this pride? Yeah, we do. This was a super sketchy pride too. And I ended up cheating here. Oh, that is not good at all. Because I know immediately after this, I want to do a big pull. Big pull, no vamp. I remember this going pretty badly. Like, I knew in the back of my head too when I was doing this pull. I'm like, oh man, I don't have vamp, I don't have cheat. But we gotta do it anyways. Sometimes you just have to make adjustments. So going into this pull, this is the hardest part, is grouping them all up. I blood boil here, I think. No, I swarming mist first and blood boil. And then while I'm generating RP, I need to be death striking to group them all up. And now that they're all grouped is when I pop dancing. Or when they're about to be grouped. Dancing here. Dancing itself doesn't help me too much. I didn't get too lucky with the parries. I have Vamp immediately out of this. And we got wings at the same time. So I think we're overusing our death strikes here, but that's because I'm just afraid of all these mobs. Like, let me see what happens. Building here. That death strike was me being afraid. This death strike was fine. The bad one was me being afraid again. And then trees here. Okay. These trees died so fast, I think. Yeah. So these trees died so fast that I did not see that coming. I definitely could have reacted. Like right here. 5 seconds into trees, they die. Instantly turn around, melee me. We're super sad. I remember at this point, I'm like, God damn, how do I die to such an easy pull? And I'm just asking them to res me, but they couldn't get the res off, so we're just running back. Yo, what's up, Oreo? Good to see you. Yeah, we're having a good day. That's that bloody K? Yeah. Yeah, so we could have definitely lived there. And this is the thing with hierarchies too. You never know how long trees are going to live for. Trees just die super fast at this key level. But it's like I was saying earlier in that poll that we did before. These polls are not that hard. You guys might see it and you're like, holy hell, you were pulling huge as hell. But like, you can see our mage and our boomkin hasn't died yet. There's a tree tracker. Oh, really? I should probably use something like that. Can you link that afterwards? How many staghorns? If you're an organized group, you can pull 2. Otherwise, you want to only pull 1. It requires 2 kicks per staghorn. Well, 2 melee kicks. But yeah, like, I remember over here, going into this boss, I'm looking at time, I'm like, oh crap, we only have 3 minutes something left. We gotta go. And I'm asking Growl, like, are we good on mana? And he's like, yeah, so we just go. At this point, I know that we're pretty tight, but we can still time it. So this boss, there's really not too much to it. There's only like 2 things that I think are important here. One is the ads. You'll see that I'm constantly trying to position the boss, well, position the ads inside the boss. Like I see all these here, I'm Swarming Mist, Blood Boy on them. I'm bringing them into the boss. And then when there's puddles dropping, we want to move slightly away from them so that our melees have an easier time. So what do we do with these ads? But yeah, like we see them all converging here. I try to drag them all into the middle of Shadova. Just making sure to get cleave down. So like here, these sets too. Like I saw they were all on Hippo here. We door over to him so that we can get him in cleave again. YK Consumption. Consumption does a lot of damage to your team. It's really dangerous. It's Grievous too, right? Yeah. Like we'll see how much damage we're taking in the next Consumption. But yeah, like look at our HPs. Every tick is just... Well, we actually kicked it super fast, so we can't really see it anyways. As a lower key level chat, yeah. In lower key levels, it's super fine to do. So at this point, we have 1 minute left. I'm positioning so that we can get ready to pull that last pack. We only need 4 count, which means that we only need 4 of those little hatchlings or whatever the hell you would call them. But for now, we're just waiting until everything calms down. Trying to drag the mobs towards the larvas. Now, Hippo here dies with his incarn. Like, I see this and I'm like, oh no. We lost our CA Convoke. That's actually so bad. We only have less than a minute left. The boss is 500k HP. This was Monk S point of the clock. So I'm like, we have to do something. I'm positioning myself to pull the trash pack immediately. I'm looking at kicks. I'm like, all right, Chow, you gotta kick the boss while I watched the Staghorn here. So we pull the larvas, D&D to get aggro and keep them a little bit grouped up. Put my focus on the Staghorn right away. Dancing's up. We have Vamplet coming up soon too. I got the kick on the Staghorn and I'm like, Hippo, you have to beam next. So at this point, Growl's getting overrun by these larvas here. And then we need these larvas killed. We have 22 seconds. The boss is almost dead. And I'm like, we're completely fine. We just gotta kill the boss here. And we just gotta kill 4 larvas. These have like literally no HP. We didn't even have Combust coming up soon if we have to. So here we just like, I'm just tanking this pack with Rune Tap by itself, which is actually really risky. Like tanking this entire pack in the boss with just Rune Tap, nothing else. I'm completely dry. We have to play it really good here to stay alive. Yeah, 3 seconds left on the clock. Easy timer. Big 3.3k overall DPS from our Blood Decay player. Absolutely stellar DPS. But yeah, like, made a couple of mistakes this key, but still timed the key. Just because of how big we were pulling. Thank God for the combat pal in the first boss. My 205 prop pally did more than 3.3k. Sag.